What is good, Josh on the Smooth Game Man? Back with yet another reaction video, baby. And today we are back, as you can tell by the jersey, man. It's NFL season, so y'all wanted some NFL content, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring some more sports content back to the channel, and at least as a little bit of a taste for right now. Maybe we can add more later if you guys are enjoying this stuff, and hit the like button, subscribe to the family to join the channel, and turn that bell on so you know when videos going out. But besides the point, if y'all are showing that love and support by liking and subscribing, then we'll bring other sports stuff to the channel and more football stuff especially. But today we're just gonna react to the power rankings, man. I want to hear what they have to say. I always do it. I always watch the video anyway, so I'll watch what you guys give my thoughts and opinions. Of course, we can have different opinions. First of all, let's keep it respectful down in the comment section. I know you mad your favorite team lower than expected, and some of y'all happy that your team higher than expected, and some of y'all right even where you need to be so y'all content. But for some of us, we about to argue, get in that chat, and get vicious. Because I'm going to be down there too arguing. Because my team is the greatest team in the world. Yes, I know we lost 2 back-to-back that we shouldn't have. We low-key should be 4-0 right now. But stupid defensive calls and stuff. So let's just get to this power ranking show. See how far back we fell. And see who the top teams in the league are now.
There's really going to be a change at the top. But there was. You name check Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings. We got your number one. The Vikings still undefeated.
And we're going to read this off too, because they're going to be, going in and out. So I'll quickly read this off. So we got Minnesota up 2-1, Chiefs down 1-2, Lions up 1-3, Bills down 2-4, Texans up 1-5, Ravens up 2-6, Commanders up 9-7, and Bucks up 7-8. See, I just think, Baltimore at 2-2. Now, to be fair, it's the power rankings and not standings, but at 2-2, you tell me. I mean, I guess in a head-to-head matchup, they probably could beat the Commanders, but I probably would take them over the 2. I mean, down below if y'all are different. I probably would take them below. Detroit, I would take over Buffalo. I think I honestly low-key would take Houston over Buffalo. That's just me. Sorry, Buffalo fans. Low-key, I think I could take Houston over Buffalo, so I could see those two being switched, especially after the loss that they just took, drop one more spot. But Chiefs and Vikings? That means to tell me that you were saying that the Vikings right now can beat the Chiefs, and I'm not buying.
Move into the number 1 spot on the power rankings. Kansas City drops 1. They've been sitting there all season long. They did get a win, but it was a close one. And there's obviously some injury concerns now with Rashee Rice at that wide receiver spot. The Detroit Lions on Monday night. Jared Goff was perfect. Number 4. The Bills, a little surprise for me. Just 1 spot decline for Buffalo after a loss against the Ravens. We'll discuss that. The Texans,
and then Baltimore beat them too.
Jags,
crazy.
They are at number 5. This Ravens team that we saw on Sunday, this was the one that I think we expected to see all season. They move up 2 spots.
And let me know if y'all feel that way. Like, if you beat a team, so I got to take that off just for monetization. If you beat a team, do you feel like they should automatically be below the other team? I feel like there's that kind of element, especially if we're doing power rankings, and this is just how strong the teams are at the current week. Because I think there's 2 different ways you can do power rankings. One way is future projection, where you think they'll finish in the season and try to get it correct as possible. And then you've got B, where they are currently after the last week. Where they are currently after the last week, I say if you beat your opponent, at the very least, you should be above them. So if you're willing to put them above the Commanders and Buccaneers and say they could beat them, well, they beat Buffalo. And like I said, I'm still taking Houston over both. So
you felt confident enough in what you've seen through these first 4 games to have.
Like I said, that's an L for me. That's an L.
Yeah, part of it had to do with what's going on in Kansas City. We'll talk about that in a minute. But obviously, we had a little bit of a Alabama-Georgia thing going on up there in Green Bay where, Minnesota came out 28-0 lead, looked like the dominant team. Absolutely getting after.
Well, I thought you were about to compare Minnesota to Alabama. I was going to say, don't ever in your life do that. Roll Tide.
Jordan Love defensively, and seeing Sam Darnold continue to throw passes like this. He's been spot on this year. Did have the 1 interception, but Mike, I saw Kevin O'Connell trust Sam Darnold when the lead was starting to shrink away to throw the football and throw them to a victory. They had Aaron Jones back in his old house, right? You could easily hand off to the guy who made a ton of Lambeau leaps in his career, not on Sunday, but instead they realized they have to remain aggressive. Jordan Love was starting to get hot after some early shaky moments.
That was a tough
and I think the Vikings played it right. Coaching has been a huge part of what they've done this season. That's not to besmirch any other staff like Andy Reid or John Harbaugh or anybody like that, but what I've seen from Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores this season has been wildly impressive, and another big game for them on the road against a division opponent, making plays like this to seal a victory.
I want to put some context, Eric, around how good this Minnesota Vikings team has been. They've trailed for just 3 minutes and 26 seconds through 4 games. That's the fewest in the NFL. Only team under 27 minutes That is wild. And that speaks to what you're talking about. A balanced attack. The defense has been great. And by the way, they hit the road now. They're going to London against the Jets. We'll talk about Gangrene coming up. That matchup exclusively on NFL Network this coming weekend. So
which I'm taking Minnesota
tuning in for that. The Chiefs. All right. I got to imagine if they're completely healthy, this is a harder decision to drop them one spot.
That's exactly right. I mean, I've been kind of stubborn about it. You look at other people's power rankings, they moved on from the Chiefs, even with the 4-0 record, just saying, hey, look, Mahomes hasn't been as great, but I really think it has been enough of a good team to this point prior to the Rashee Rice injury that I would have kept them probably number one, or at least had a real tough debate in my head. But once the news came out on Rice, still some, lack of clarity on whether he's going to be out the entire season or what the deal is. But I'm assuming this is going to be another serious injury in line with losing Hollywood Brown in the preseason, losing Isaiah Pacheco a couple weeks ago, making some changes on the offensive line. I was very glad to see Travis Kelce step up on Sunday. It was going to happen at some point. And Kareem Hunt, his first game back since 2018 in Kansas City, was a big part of finishing that one off. They had to bench Carson Steele early in the game after the fumble. There's still some uncertainty there. We're kind of back to where we were last year with all the questions about Mahomes' weapons and how is he going to get this done.
And he did it anyway.
But, is he going to?
Here's the best part about this from a Kansas City perspective. There's lulls in the season, and they're still winning football games. So they still have some time. I saw a report from Ian Rappaport saying the team exploring some possibilities of acquiring another wide receiver if the Rice injury is as significant as we assume that it is. Number 3, Detroit Lions. I got to tell you, on Monday night, I don't know if we saw the biting of the ankles and the whole deal, but this team is tough.
I remember hearing that.
They were able to sustain a lead and hold on to it. I think there's a lot to love about the Lions.
Absolutely. Did they have their hands full defensively with Geno Smith and the Seahawks? No doubt, right? I mean, they had to hold off a team that had, I think, 38 first downs, 27 of them in the second half. Just an incredible job by Seattle to keep making this a game. But when you have the offensive efficiency that the Lions did Monday night, kind of regaining some of their mojo a little.
And can we talk about how tough these uniforms is, bro? The black and blue yesterday, when I saw that, bro, I was like, ooh. It went so cold. I want to play in Detroit.
A bit. Big performance from Tim Patrick. He's now kind of entering the mix a little bit. Jamison Williams, a couple of really important plays. The run duo there was awesome. And then Jared Goff, one of his 18 for 18 completions there on the night. You throw in the touchdown catch he had. I'm on Rob St. Brown, and the Lions were perfect as a team, 19 for 19. So you're going to win a lot of football games when you don't have a pass hit the turf. But it took every single minute. Did love the way they closed out the game, right? It could have been a little tighter there, allowing the safety at the end. But, man, this is, I said in the column, I lived in St. Louis during the greatest show on turf years. There's a lot of similarities between the two teams. Highly explosive. A little volatile, always interesting. And I'm going to keep watching these guys because they're so much fun, and they seem to be kind of getting back on track a little bit offensively.
Yeah, they are fun. And look, it was the most memorable play of the game with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who had never thrown a pass in his college or NFL career. He's now 1 for 1 with the touchdown pass. He's probably telling Jared, your job is pretty easy. Look at some of my stats and my percentages. And Goff, by the way, his second career reception in his first career touchdown. I saw, obviously we had the post-game show on NFL Network, and we had played some of Jared Goff's comments after the game. He said it was his first touchdown that he could remember since he was like 7 years old, which is just wild to me. Moving on to number 4 here, the Bills. They dropped 2 spots. Eric, as I'm watching that game against Baltimore and seeing how they lost, I actually thought there was a world where you would drop them more than just 2 spots. Why the amount of respect?
I got to see. I got to hear this respect.
Them where they are.
Yeah, I mean, the first 3 games of the season, they had been really good, I thought, and especially the last 2. And so they had flexed their muscles a little bit. And this was a 21-10 game where the Ravens kind of kept the door open with some of their mistakes. I think had that trick play, the one where Allen fumbled, and the one that Joe Brady says after the game he regrets. Had that play gone a little differently, or if they'd been able to make something happen on that drive, we'd have a different final score and a different story. Not making excuses. They didn't play well defensively. They had their issues with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Offensively, we know there were drop passes. There were missed connections there. And it was the first time in 43 games that they lost, regular season games, that they lost by more than 10 points. So it does speak to the fact that they are highly competitive. Josh Allen keeps them in almost every game. Sunday was obviously an exception to that. Does it look a little strange that I have the Ravens below them? Yes, but this is sort of the balancing act you have to do where the Ravens had 2 losses, one of them pretty bad to the Raiders. How do you kind of weigh those 2 teams? Head-to-head is only part of the equation. So that's kind of how I arrived there. Don't worry.
And y'all can have different opinions on it. Let me know down below. If you gave it a percentage, how much would head-to-head weigh for you guys? I feel like that's a pretty big percentage. Not only that, because if they had a tie record right now, what's the very first thing we're going to head-to-head? So obviously it's the first thing for playoff implications. So for me, if I'm doing my power rankings, it's probably one of the first things I'm looking at too. Well, now, obviously I wouldn't take necessarily say like when the Panthers got their win. I would drop the other team significantly. Would I put them above the Panthers? It'd probably be pretty tough for me to, off of multiple games. But if we're going to do respect factor, we all know, when you love them or hate them, we all know Baltimore is a good playoff caliber team. So they have their respect. They've earned their respect. As much so as Buffalo, because Buffalo choking in the postseason too, just like Baltimore has. Like Baltimore's made it further on several occasions, or at least look stronger while they're doing it. So to me, and also I'll put myself in a situation of like, what would I rather scheme against? I feel like it would be easier, and y'all, like I said, y'all can have different opinions. It'd be easier to scheme against Buffalo and get the dub than to scheme against Baltimore and get the dub. Why do I say that? Dual threat ability of the quarterback, I feel like is more lead on Baltimore side. I think we can all agree probably a better running back over the entire career, and he's leading the league in rushing yards right now, so better running back in Baltimore. Defense is tough in Baltimore, always has been throughout their whole history. I mean, what team would you rather your team play right now? Answer that down below. Which one?
It is time for Power Moves presented by Energizer. All the Commanders moving up 9 spots to number 7. Eric,
shout out to the Washington Commanders.
What was going to happen and how you were going to treat it. I expected a shootout against the Arizona Cardinals. It was a one-sided shootout. They were dominant, and the best rookie quarterback in the NFL is named Jaden Daniels.
He's been special,
question.
And I thought he had a great chance beginning of the year to be offensive rookie of the year. And Cliff Kingsbury was a big reason why he goes back to Arizona, exacts a little revenge against his former team, but, didn't make a big deal out of it because he's got this star quarterback and they are in simpatico right now. And it's been fun to watch the design of the offense, some power, some spread, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. They're explosive offensively. They're hard to defend. The run game's there, and the defense is overachieving too. You can't say enough about the job that Dan Quinn, Adam Peters, and the rest of the crew there have done in rebuilding this locker room and this roster as well.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels, for context on what he's been able to accomplish last 2 games for him, 5 touchdowns, 3 in the air and 2 on the ground. I'm going to repeat that. 5 touchdowns, Eric, 6 incompletions over the last 2 games. It is.
He's over 80%. He leads the league. It's nuts. It's crazy.
It's wild. And I think you said something in your column, once again on NFL.com, analysis on all 32 teams. Why not Washington win this division, considering how Dallas and New York and Philadelphia are playing? So
I ain't even gonna cap. I completely agree with that. Like low key, Philly, they beat us. They beat us literally because if we had just ran zone. But that's not here or there. Philly ain't been playing too good. Dallas ain't looked too good. I think we all expect the Giants to come in last in the division anyway. Hey, the Commanders have, an easier schedule than the other 2 based on where they finished last year. They're facing teams that were in the bottom of their divisions. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say the Commanders at least can challenge and make it interesting there late in the season.
Tampa Bay up to 8. I think the win that you witnessed, Eric, made you even pause because this is a significant jump. And I think you were a little on the fence.
I cannot believe they're this good. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, didn't have them too much lower than this. The big drop after the Denver game. I think we realized, look, Denver went on the road, won a tough game against the Jets. Maybe they're a little better opponent than I realized or some other folks did. I don't know. I think we're going to look back at that Denver game and just say that was kind of their hiccup, their mulligan, whatever you want to call it. Baker was back in command. The defense got after the Eagles. Shorthanded Eagles team, granted. They were missing some star players, no doubt about it. But I loved what the Fighting Mayfields
the Mayfields is crazy.
That Eagles defense that really kind of shut down the Saints the week before.
Hey, shut up. They ain't shut down anything. but the Mayfields is hilarious.
For them to, keeping them on the field for long drives and explosive plays. And it was a feel-good game, a get-right game for the Bucs, and they certainly made that big statement. And, they're my favorites for the NFC South, but there's another team I know you like we're going to talk about later that could give them a little push.
Yeah, look, the division's still really competitive, but to your point, I think they have to be the favorite. And by the way, just I do think it's important to highlight the lives that have been affected in the South because of the hurricane and the fact that Tampa Bay was able to get a win like this. I mean, look, it's a small level of solace, but I think a lot of people need those distractions on the weekends and Sundays to think about what's happening in their actual lives. That's not good right now. Yep. So our thoughts and prayers and good vibes that we're sending to everyone that was affected from that perspective. But hopefully, if you're watching this show, we're making a little fun for you. In fact, Eric, there's one team, and Tampa Bay fans can laugh all that they want because they were a Super Bowl contender, and yet they are free falling. We will tell you who that team is. Coming up next on Power Rankings.
All right, and so we got the next grouping here. -2 for the Packers, down to 9. Steelers down 1. Seahawks and 49ers staying put at 11 and 12. Eagles down 8 to 13. Yeah, laugh at them. Yeah, them. We dropped 4 to 14. I guess I'll handle that. Down 2 is 15 for the Jets. And then Colts move up 2 spots to 16. Do I agree with that placements? I'd say so. I mean, I guess Seattle doesn't deserve it. They moved down. They lost to a possible Super Bowl contender. Packers still in the top 10. I'm okay with Steelers being up there. Showed a little bit, but I still believe in Fields. I believe in when he was with the Bears, so I'm chilling there. 49ers, I think they're showing a little bit of lack of CMC weakness, but above the Eagles and us, I can understand. Personal feelings wants me to listen, if we just don't run man coverage on 3rd and 16, like, I don't know who drew that up. Press man of all things, too. Who drew up press man on 3rd and 16? Any Madden player will tell you. 3rd and 16 with the lead? Oh, I'm running cover 3, cover 4, cover 6 shade, something with a cover in front of it. Not cover 1, cover 0, not man up blitz, not the mid blitz y'all running on Madden. Cover 3 at the very least. Give up the short stuff, tackle them short. Instead, y'all got pick, played, ran into each other, and they scored. And we lost off of that. Let's be honest. If we play cover 6, if we play some type of coverage there, stop them short, we probably would have got to stop on 4th down, or at least wasted more time to make them have to travel the field longer, made it more exciting. So I would flip flop us too, just for that reason. I wouldn't put us above the 49ers and stuff like that. I'm not going to super hype my team. Jets, Colts. I probably put the Colts slightly ahead of the Jets. No Anthony Richardson. Yeah, I probably keep him behind.
Energizer, Eric's teams 9 through 16. The Green Bay Packers, following the loss, still stay in the top 10. The Steelers, they were perfect on the season, but they lost to the Colts, so they dropped to the 10th position. Seattle, there were questions around how good this team was. They stay flat at number 11. The Niners, also flat to get back into the win column. They're number 12. The 13th ranked team, the Philadelphia Eagles, who have a free fall. We'll talk about them, dropping 8 spots. The Saints are at 14. The Jets at 15.
Oh, no extra words. I like that.
Game in London, there's some tension brewing in New York, and the Colts at 16. Anthony Richardson banged up. Joe Flacco, Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, I guess Joe Flacco is there.
Success against Pittsburgh. All right, at number 11,
I
think the conversation should start with the Seattle team. Eric, this is a squad that was perfect. We said, hey, who are they beating? How good are they? I know the score might tell you one story against what we saw in Detroit against the Lions. I actually think they hung tough, and I think this is a pretty good football team.
Absolutely, yeah. I think
I gotta jump in quickly too. I do agree with that. And when it's all said and done, I mean, I really can't remember how long CMC's injury is, but the way the 49ers are playing, it could become a very challenging race between the two for that division. I'm trying to think. Yeah, the Cardinals. Who else am I missing? Oh, the Rams. Yeah, we're not even worried. So it's gonna be a 2-team race thing between Seahawks and 49ers. Honestly, I might give a slight edge to the Seahawks, though. Low key. We'll have to see how the season pans out. Sorry, 49ers fans. I know y'all mad. I know y'all cussing me out down in the comment section. Might get the slight edge to Seahawks, though.
When you also consider the fact how much they were actually missing on defense, Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, the first round pick, Nwosu, Boye Mafe had a sack in every game up till Monday night. So a lot of defensive firepower. They lose Julian Love during the game as well. So they were up against it. But you look at what Geno Smith did. I mean, he played a tremendous game, like really one of his best career games, and was constantly keeping them in the game with darts all over
Geno
the field.
coming back after
Kenneth
the Jets.
Walker, I swear, traversed half of Michigan on Monday night, barreling through Lions tackles, and he had a great return to the field after missing a couple games. And you know what those receivers can do. You know, that one DK turnover really cost them early, but he was shredding them all night. So was Jackson Smith and Jigba. Mike McDonald, I think, gets it. He's a good coach. He found the right script after they fell behind to kind of keep them in the game, trusted Geno, did what he could defensively. But when they get healthy on that side of the ball, I think they're going to really push the 49ers. I don't know if it's going to be all season long, but I think they're going to have some firepower to stay in this NFC West race.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. 395 yards for Geno Smith, career high for him. 3 rushing touchdowns for Walker, also
that boy Walker
career high. Couldn't wait to talk to you about this team, the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's probably panic in Philly. I get what that fan base is, but let's keep in mind here, the wide receivers, Brown and Smith, did not play. Lane Johnson on that offensive line. I can story this team still being a very quality football team, and yet based off of your power rankings and the fact that we're doing this every single week, I felt like you had to drop them.
Yeah.
I just sat there and said, look, as impressive as week 3 was, it was a big win for them. They take a big step back here, even shorthanded, right? We talked about the Seahawks just a moment ago and what they were able to do. That felt more impressive than what the Eagles could do. Again, against a good Bucs team, I think we need to give them their respect, but the same problems are cropping up. Jalen Hurts, another turnover. Those have been adding up. He's got 27 of them since the start of last season. About 20
this season?
There. The defense not being able to stack back-to-back impressive performances. That's a problem. I mean, that's, they spent all these first-round picks on pass rushers, and they go out and spend on defensive tackles, and they're still giving up chunks of yards up front. So I just feel like this bye week couldn't have turned worse in terms of the timing of it. Now the pressure is all on this Eagles team to come back stronger after the bye. Going to be a lot of talk about Nick Sirianni and what he can do. Not everybody is convinced he's the right man for the job, fans or otherwise. So I'll be fascinated to see if there is an answer, because I do think the firepower is there and health is a big part of it, but they got to play better football.
Yeah, look, we can point to health, and we have, even with the Kansas City Chiefs, the top of the rankings, who now fall to number 2. The reality is there are some teams that are able to overcome some of these injuries.
Sure.
I mean, case in point, we'll talk about the Titans, right? They lose their starting quarterback and Will Levis during the game, and yet still figure out a way. You got to step up is really the point here. Dropping 4 spots, the Saints to 14. Younghoe Koo, my guy, down in Atlanta, bearing.
I do not want to hear this, but I will do it for you guys for the video. So I'm sitting back looking pissed. As a Saints fans join me for a moment of silence.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
58-yard field goal, 2 seconds left for the win. This is a heartbreaker. The Saints dominant these first couple weeks, and these like razor edge thin margins that they're losing by. I don't know if that's the mark of, hey, a really good team, or one that I should be questioning.
Yeah, they're a tough one to figure out. They've been one that I really kind of grapple with over the first 4 weeks of the season, the explosive start, and then the last 2 thuds, coming down to the last second, but still in a game where the offense was good, but I don't think good enough. Now they're missing 2 offensive linemen as well, but they dominated the first possession of the game, looked great, and then things got a little clunky after that. Atlanta won the game with...
My ninja said we dominated the first possession of the game. How many times? I mean, I know we can't compare Madden to real life, but how many times you jump on a game of Madden, you dominate the first drive, and then the rest of the game just be booty cheeks because you adjusted, or you on defense first. They score the first drive, and then you shut them down for the rest of the game. That's literally how I play Madden. You guys can watch my gaming channel every year. I do like an online game. Literally, the first drive I give up a touchdown, and then I end up winning the game 21 scump, like 28-7. 21-7, 35-7. Anybody can look dominant on the first drive. I mean, it's hard. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, it's not that hard. You know what I'm saying? Like there's harder things to do. If you don't look dominant, nobody's gonna bat an eye. If you look dominant, I'm not reading too much into that. Oh, okay, cool. You scored the second drive, or you scored, the first drive of the game. What are you gonna do on the second drive though? Are you gonna still look as dominant? Did they come out and adjust? And are you going to readjust? The man said they looked dominant on the first drive and everything went downhill. Duh. That just means the other team adjusted good and we didn't adjust well enough back.
No offensive touchdowns. So, the mistakes in the special teams game and then also a deflected pass that's run back for a touchdown, those are the kind of things that the Saints probably could have overcome when they were scoring 40 points a game to start the year. But now that things have slowed down a little bit, those are the things that shrink the margin of error for them. And, Dennis Allen's another guy who came into this season facing a lot of pressure. It cooled way off. Clint Kubiak was the most popular guy in New Orleans, but all of a sudden that's now kind of reverted back to the middle a little bit. So they might be looking up at teams like the Bucks in Atlanta for that division.
Shut up.
They got to find a way to get their mojo back, right? Alvin Kamara's been great, but they still need other playmakers. Olave emerged late in that game, but Rashid Shaheed had the early mistake with the fumble and couldn't quite make up for it down the stretch.
Here's the worst part about this from the Saints' perspective, and it's also the best part. Monday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs. You lose this one, it's now 3 consecutive losses. You win this one, and I think we start talking about the Saints like we did after the first 2 weeks of the season.
Great point.
Still more to come here on NFL Power Rankings. Thank you.
And even as a Saints fan, I am terrified for Monday night. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I'm terrified, bro. Will I always pick the Saints no matter what? Money on the line or not? Yes, I am a true Saints fan. I don't care if I realistically think we are going to lose. I don't care if we have 11 Derek Carrs on the field. Yes, I'm going to pick us to win. Am I going to be real with y'all for a second and think that I'm not scared that we're going to lose to Kansas City? These Ninjas ain't 4-0 for no reason. So back here we have the Cowboys staying put at 17, Chargers down 4, Falcons up 1-19, still behind us. Broncos up 2-20, Bengals staying put at 21, Bears up 2, Rams down 4, and then the Raiders up 4-24 in that third quadrant.
Energizer, Eric's team 17 through 24. The Cowboys.
Oh yeah, I almost said, do I agree with that? Oh dang, I took it all. I got to see. Yeah, low key, this is one of those situations where I don't know. Bengals finally get their first win. I still am holding on to a little bit of faith for the Bengals to where I think, sorry, Denver fans, I would slide them above you. I would have gave them a boost up 1. Broncos only a boost of 1. Bears, I think, deserve some respect there over the Rams and Raiders, though, for sure. I think I have the Raiders over the Rams. I just haven't liked that way the Rams have played at all. But the Raiders did lose to the Panthers. That's a pretty big knock. But that could have just been like a one-off game. I mean, like I said, they came back and beat the Ravens after having a big deficit. So I think it was kind of offset. So yeah, give me the Raiders up 1 more spot to 5. Rams drop down 1 more spot, 5. Bengals move up 1 spot to 1. And Broncos only move up 1 spot to the 21 spot.
Checking at number 17. The Chargers at one point were a top 10 squad, started 2-0. They've dropped now back-to-back games. They fall to 18. The Falcons at 19. The Broncos with the win against the Jets. It was a tough one. They showed up for Bo Nix. They are at 20. The Bengals were also a top 10 team at one point. They needed a win. They got the win, but they sit at 21. The Bears, run the football. They're at number 22. The Rams at 23. They are the walking wounded. And at number 24, hat tip to Antonio Pierce and the Raiders. No Devontae Adams, no Max Crosby, and you still are able to take out the Browns at 24. It's time for Future Champions presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. And here we go in the NFC South. The Atlanta Falcons still the favorite. The Tampa.
I swear this. Every time my team loses, they just want to keep stabbing me in the back, bro. You had all the other 3 weeks to look at our division. You could have looked at our division later. But as soon as we lose to Atlanta, now y'all want to throw up our projections. What about the NFC East? They look kind of interesting right now with the Commanders. Why are we looking at theirs?
The Atlanta Falcons, you had America at number 19. They keep winning football games. I get it. There's some questions around that team's offense, but in crucial situations, Kirk Cousins and company, they're dealing.
They are, but you got to get in the end zone, Mike. I mean, that's my big problem with them. So they have trouble scoring right now, and they did have a touchdown call back on a questionable penalty, but there are times when Kirk Cousins, the passing game is a little laborious, and they can't figure out exactly when they should be leaning on their run game. But look, opportunistic special teams, they were great on that side of the ball. Defense made the big play, Troy Anderson's pick 6. They got it done. They're kind of the masters of the close games, right? I mean, they don't win them all, right? right? They lost one to the Chiefs and also lost in week 1 to the Steelers, but all 4 games have come down to the final minute. So they're getting battle tested in these playoff-like atmospheres. And they did it with some backup offensive linemen last week. So I do give them credit for that.
Yeah, even late in these games, I start feeling like, hey, maybe Kirk can deliver. And he was able to, and Young Ku putting it through the uprights for a on 58-yard field goal. Meanwhile, the rest of
And then last quadrant here, just really quickly for my voice, you know what I'm saying? -2 for the Cardinals, Titans up 6-26, Giants up 2, Browns down 2, New England down 2, Dolphins down 5. Whew. For the last time Miami was down this low. Panthers staying put and the worst team in the league. Of course, the only team still winless, Jacksonville Jaguars. Do I agree with this list here? I gotta say, yeah, honestly. Yeah, the way they played, maybe even Tennessee up one more to replace Arizona, but it's yeah, no, matchup wise, I think I'm gonna still run with like this. Yep. If I had to match them all up, it'd probably get beat down just like this.
for the rankings here at 25. The Arizona Cardinals, they got annihilated by Washington. The Titans with a win at 26. The Giants at 27. The Browns, I don't know what's going on with this team. They check in at 28. At 29, it's the Patriots. The Dolphins at 30. 31, it's the Panthers. And the winless team in the NFL is the Jags at 32. How concerned are you about Miami, who drops 5 spots? It was not pretty on Monday night.
No two.
I'd love to be able to do the Mike McDaniel face when there's about 5 minutes left. They're down 22-6. Jordan Poyer's been ruled out. Tyreek Hill is barking behind him. Tyler Huntley's struggling on the field. Everything is going wrong. The fans wanted to be anywhere but Hard Rock Stadium. It's a mess right now. They have a couple winnable games, but it is a mess, and I don't know how they're going to figure it out.
Yeah, look, watching his press conference there, he said, number one, all things on the table when it comes to changing things on the offensive side. Disappointed. I know Tyler Huntley is a guy that can get it done, but he was disappointed in the guys around him not delivering. There was a lot of drops in this game. Eric, you're the best. You get the toughest job in the building ranking these teams.
There it is, man. Hey, my first ever, reaction to the rankings. Let me know if you guys would rather me just do like just watch the actual power ranking video though that they do instead of reacting to their reaction show. I just like doing this because I get to hear them talk about the ranking and explain why they did it, to see if I agree or disagree with some of the things, see if you change my mind about some stuff. But also let me know down below. Do you guys want me to make my own power rankings? I'll kind of basically I'll take whatever week that you guys decide you want me to do. So if you want me to start now, I'll take this list and this will be my starting point and watch the games throughout, obviously, Thursday through Monday. And I'll reorder them, and next time we react to this, I'll have my version of it too, and we'll throw mine up on the screen, or I'll have it written down somewhere to go ahead and show you guys what I think what would be my power rankings here for everything. So, like I said, if y'all just want to see that, we can do something like that. I definitely do believe with most of the points there. I think some things can be switched. I think Kansas City still deserves the respect as the top team in the league. Might be a little bit of Minnesota hating that, but I do believe Kansas City deserves that respect still. I believe that we should be flip-flop with the Eagles. I'm trying to remember some of my big points through there. I do believe Baltimore should be above Buffalo as well as Houston should be above them. I just don't believe in Buffalo too much right now, especially losing to a team like that. And Baltimore's wins have more or less been them choking at the end. They've taken off. They've won. They could easily be 4-0-2 right now. Baltimore could easily be 4-0-2. They've choked at the end of the games, not been able to finish. Almost choked there against Buffalo. Was able to hold out, which is hopefully some good signs moving forward. They'll get the lead, and even if they choke a little bit, they won't choke on the whole thing, no diddy. But we'll have time to see. Let me know down below where your favorite team ranked, what your favorite team is. Let's chop it up down in the comment section, man. So it's me, your boy, Sean, this movie, Black Okage, Black Avatar, and King Leo, aka Mr. New Orleans. No, I'm just playing. But I'll catch you guys in the next video, man. I am gone for the day. Peace.